Hey, it's Johnny Gators here with a long overdue update on the Computer Bar channel, my YouTube channel that I didn't quite do a whole lot with, but I've dug the, a pair of my BC88s from my BC88 collection out of the basement, and I'm starting to think about doing things that having video documentation of would be helpful to me for, because these computers are not getting better with age. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do if I want to keep these running long term, because the current situation is just not great. So I have two of my BC88s up from the basement, and what is my last currently working CGA monitor, which is one of the problems. This CGA monitor came with this 88, which was the first one that I found, which I've swapped around some parts on since then. I do have three Cystine CGA monitors, which are what would rightfully come with one of these BC88s if you bought the monitor from ComputerLand with the computer. Two of them do power on, and they're on the floor over here. And one of them went dim. When you power on a CGA monitor with no signal, it brights up white, not black. And that white dimmed, and you can still see that bright white glow when it's turned on with no signal, but it's dimmed enough that the normal white of text from a PC does not illuminate enough to make a readable display. And the other one that I had that still powers on was working, but a few hours into operation, if that much, with the dabbling I've been doing the past few days, it also went dim. It seems to get bright when I start it up cold, and then once it warms up, it dims and it's not usable. And then the other one I had that's in the basement, it never displayed anything on the screen. So at some point, I'm going to need to start opening those up and poking around in there. I think the one that works, one of those two that dim, I'm going to open it up with a camera on it, because the first one still made noises like it was working when I would turn it on and off. And I open it up and there's some connectors that disconnect. And I poked around. I'm like, well, I'll have to do this another day. And I can reconnect everything, close it up. It doesn't make the sounds of being powered on or off anymore. So I think I overlooked a connector. I never figured out what connector I overlooked opening it up again and looking over everything. So I basically decided, well, if I ever open up one of the working ones, I'm going to take some pictures, take some video, so I can backtrack and look over everything when putting it back together. So that's one future project, is getting a camera on pointed at these while opening one up. And I think I'm going to start by opening up one of them, discharging the tube, of course, and changing out as many electrolytic capacitors as I can on it, put it back together, power it on, and hope for the best. So that's a future project. But before we think about those, I still have one working CGA monitor, which is good. But another problem I have is I'm one of those rare people, it seems, that keeps trying to keep these old MFM hard drives working, because it just don't sound right or act the same using a modern storage solution. Now, mind you, this one here is kind of this one is my authentic BC88. This one is my upgraded BC88, if that makes any sense to people's mindsets. But this one does not have a vintage hard drive in it. It is a dual floppy model. This is one I was a lucky find on eBay that came with the original box, which is a bit beat up and taped up, but any original box is cool to have. And I had a XTIDE card working in this. It was a Blue Lava XTIDE card, which died. And I've tried replacing the chips on it, reflowing the solder. I can't get that card working again. And I don't know, that it's all magic to me. So I previously tried a Texelec compact flash card in here, and I couldn't get it to work. And I was just so frustrated at that point, I returned it. And now I look again. It seems the Texelec are the only options out there. I think I know what went wrong when I tried that, so I'm buying another one. I'm going to give that another go, because ideally what I like for this one is for it to work off of a modern storage solution. And that way I have plenty of room to fit all the crap I want to on it. And also this one, I had an EGA card kicking around, and I put that in there. And so that's what I like. And the NHB archive backup is in the chat saying, hey, we're doing a little computer talk today. So hopefully I don't bore everyone to tears. But really what I wanted to talk about was this one, which is my authentic one that has the Tandon 20 megabyte hard drive. Yeah, I know, a whole 20 megabytes. How will I ever fill that? It's already filled up. Well, not really, but like it doesn't have enough room for everything, which is why I want to try to get a modern solution on this one. But I last had this working pretty good in 2024. And I know it was last working good in 2024 because the clock card on this has a Y2K compliance issue. And someone made a patched version of the clock card software for this that you have to manually put in the year. And so I set my auto exec batch file to automatically set the year to 2024, which means that this computer spent all of 2025 sitting on a shelf in the basement. And the first thing that happened when I turned it on was the hard drive failed to spin up because the stepper motor was seized up again. And so I had to get my little 3-in-1 oil can and oil that up. And I've got this to the point where it seems to have stabilized and is working well. But out of my 4 Tandon 20 megabyte hard drives, this is the only one that works, and it barely works. And so I need to come up with a better solution if I want to keep one of these working authentically. So I recently found someone on eBay that was selling 4 of them, untested. No questions asked, no returns. And so I offered $20 each for them, and they're on their way here. They're getting boxed up. So hopefully for that $80 plus shipping, at least one of them works. But what I'm going to start doing is figuring out what do I need to do, or what can I do maintenance-wise to keep these working. And so that's another project that I plan to do on camera with video, and I may as well live stream it to my Computer Bar channel and my Twitch or wherever else. But certainly the Computer Bar channel, in case there are people out there that actually want to watch some of this real time into the weeds vintage computing stuff. So I have here 2 broken ones. And I don't remember exactly what's broken about these, but I'm pretty sure they're broken. And so my thought, and the 4 that are on their way here, these have been cut off of them. So the guy that's selling them couldn't even test them if he wanted to, because when they were removed from the computers, rather than just pull the connector off, someone just snipped and ripped them out. That's terrific. And that, but these are just standard Molex connectors. I mean, heck, I got in my Amazon shopping cart 4 SATA to Molex adapters, which is basically what I'm going to use for Molex connectors with wires already attached to them, so that I could just cut off the SATA connections and solder them onto the dangling wires there and shrink wrap the solder point. And That'll make that part good as new. As for the rest of the drives, I guess start getting, go ahead and in the comments, leave your bets what you think is going to happen with the 4 tandem drives on their way here once I get power connectors soldered to them. Do you think all 4 of them will spin up? Do you think all 4 will be completely dead on arrival? Do you think some of them might halfway work? Leave your bets or your guesses in the comments. Anyways, in the meantime, I'm going to assess and take notes of just what exactly is happening with these two. And I think a good starting point, if I want to get better at maintaining these drives, because obviously you don't want to open up a hard drive without access to a clean room. And this room ain't clean. But there's a lot of parts in a hard drive that's outside of the compartment with the platters that you don't want to open up without a clean room. And these drives, when they power up and spin up, they start to move. I think the platters are spinning and the heads are trying to read things. My guess is, if not all these drives, many of these drives have problems on the board, or on the motor here, on parts that we can see and access. And so I'm going to take one of these drives that are broken and not working anyway, so I have really nothing to lose. And I'm going to take it apart, poke around, see what I can replace, see if I can take one apart as much as I can without ripping into where the platters are, see if I can fix some stuff up, or, heck, this little stepper with the little stub here that turns. These need to be lubricated periodically, I'm finding. And the lubrication I'm using only holds up about so many months, which is clearly not as long as they originally held up. So just being able to disassemble this to the point of cleaning off old hardened lubricant, getting a better lubricant than a 3-in-1 oil, and getting this to be like good as new, that alone is probably going to do me a lot better than every few months dropping a little 3-in-1 oil in there. So if I learn anything from disassembling one of these, it'll be that. So really, my stream for tonight is showing off what this does, which earlier it was working, but now that I have a camera on it, it might decide to blow up in my face here, which would be entertaining streaming. And then I'm going to try to connect these one by one and see what they can or can't do tonight on this machine, assuming the CGA monitor doesn't go out on me before I have a chance to do that. So let's start by showing what a working one of these does. Although I got to figure out something. This floppy drive ain't working. I got to figure that out at some point too, but I've got other floppy drives kicking around. Anyways, let's turn on the CGA monitor. This CGA monitor has a flicker problem, scrolling the horizontal hold. It don't hold that well, if I recall correctly. So I only turned it on this far before streaming, so hopefully I could get a stable picture to actually do something. Now that hard drive is sounding exactly like it should. And I know that because that's exactly what the one I had in the 80s sounded like. Earlier today, it did not sound like that. It was, even after I oiled it, it was still, the pacing and the squeak was not quite right. I don't know if that sound came through on the microphone here on the stream, actually. But I'll say, after sitting for a little bit with that 3-in-1 oil, it is good as new for now. And hey, this monitor is stable and not flickering. So that is good. So yeah, so I just have a problem with the floppy drive on this one. And this drive is on borrowed time, but with a little 3-in-1 oil every few months. Now, the thing is, I'm not getting the clock card to work. Because now, even though I have a replaced battery on this, and when I put it away in 2024, it was holding on to its date and time. Now, and it is still running the command in the auto exec batch file, and I did update the command to set the year to 2026. It's not reading the right date. So if I say date, it thinks it's January 1st, 1980. Happy New Year. Wouldn't it be nice if it were just that easy to set the clock back to January 1st, 1980? That'd be great. Anyways, we're going to set this to 05/30/2026. And we're going to set the time to 12 plus 9. So that's going to be 21:07. Okay. 07? Yeah, that's an 07. Okay. Don't even have my glasses on. I can read the clock. All right. So I have the rtcdrv.exe file in here, which was on a part of the drive that the drive was struggling to read earlier. But the 3-in-1 oil seems to have settled in nicely, and now it's reading that file no problem, because if it was having a problem reading that file, it would have got stuck on it while running the auto exec batch file, and we would still have been waiting for it to fail and bomb out, asking me if I want to abort, retry, or ignore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this command, rtcdrv.exe space S. Space R will read the date that's in time that's stored. S, I think, will store that into the clock card. So I'm guessing that my battery has just not held up on this one. Or maybe I misremembered. I'll have to check out the battery. It's in this little compartment here. You could still buy new batteries for these. I don't know why, but there's a website that sells them, and you give them your credit card information, and they'll a little box will come in the mail with a little can battery with solder points that fits right into that board. And they didn't even scam me or run up my credit card for a bunch of stuff. Legit store. Forget what store it was. I'll have to Google it again. It's one of the few things that comes up when you Google ComputerLand BC88. At least it was a few years ago. I'll have to check again. Maybe I need to buy more of those batteries. Or maybe those batteries are old stock that would explain why it didn't work. Then again, is it that much of a shocker that you unplug an old computer with you hope new battery in it, let it sit for a year, and over the course of the year it didn't hold on to the date? Heck, maybe it's a problem with the clock card. Anyways, let's run this command. Date RTC wrong, RTC date 09FF exclamation exclamation. Okay, so it's not setting and it's not reading. Huh. It just gives me a wrong RTC date, 9FF. I don't know what that means. And this is a patched, modified version of the clock card software that was downloaded from a Korean site. So I'm not even sure if I can ask anyone what this means. I might have to take some screenshots of this or some pictures of it. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of this. All right, let's see. Let's look at this again. All right, where we go? RTCDRV space S should set it. Oh, well, it would help if I could type right. RTCDRV space S, .exe space S, I believe is the command. All right, so let me take a picture of that, because I'm going to have to post that over to a forum thread. Lots of little projects with these things. They will keep you busy. All right, but that's not really the reason I spun up this stream, and not really the task that I want to. Although another thing I want to do while I'm thinking about this, I think I replaced the battery on this computer I think I had the RTC command on my compact flash card that I was last using on this computer. Don't quote me on that. So this computer might have a good clock card and a good battery. I just don't have a 5 1/4 floppy with this command on it. Or do I? Let's see. Well, I got DOS 3.30. I got wipe disk. I've got, what is this? Norton Utilities. I got this disk that I didn't label. This might be it. That's on top, and that's the last thing I remember really doing. And I'm pretty sure I can't get this floppy drive to work. But let's try again. Maybe it needs a little 3-in-1 oil. The motor spins. The light don't light, though. And it's going to give me an abort, ignore, retry, fail option shortly here. There we go. We're gonna fail out of there, because if we abort, it's gonna still try to do things. All right, but maybe we'll try it on that computer later. But for now, we're gonna see what we can get these drives to do. So I find it's easiest to disconnect the cables from the A drive and get that out of my way. Get the power cable off of there too. Okay, and now I need to, actually I don't, yeah, we may as well disconnect the power from that hard drive. No need to keep spinning that up unnecessarily. And now we'll take my MFM cables off of that drive and we'll pull them up here. Lines go to the left when I'm looking at that. All right. So let's connect my cables to this drive, because I have no notes of what these do, and I don't even know which is which. And I only remember one of the problems that one of them was having. So let's do that. Slide that onto there. Slide that onto there. All right, there we go. Let's see how that one spins pretty good. I don't think I'll even need any 3-in-1 oil. Oh, something's dragging over in that spot. That might have something to do with the problem on this one. Dune is in the chat. Dune rating in 8.1, right? No. This predates, well, it doesn't really predate Windows. I guess it'd be Windows 3.0 would run comfortably on these machines. All right, so let's see what the problem is with this hard drive, because I don't remember what the problem is. And the best way to find out is to connect it and turn it on. Fire extinguisher is hanging on the wall behind the basement door. Okay, I am prepared. That wasn't a good squeak. Oh man. Okay. I think this drive has a problem inside the space that you don't open up without a clean room. So this would be a good drive to tear apart, to learn about, and not feel bad about if you can't put it back together again. Of course, now we're getting a 1701 error because the controller did not properly or successfully communicate with the drive. And now it wants to boot from a floppy, but there's no floppy drive for it to ask to boot from either. Oh, comma 8. No, this ain't a Commodore. Commodore is on the shelf over there. No, wait, it's not on the shelf. It's it's on top. It's on display. It is up there on the top. On the right side is the Commodore 64. All right, so let's power this down. All right, I'm going to do that one more time just to see if we can get it to maybe boot. Well, those are some bad sounds. Oh my God. It didn't shut down. It didn't make good sounds, but it didn't shut down. And the motor's still spinning, but I got a little bit of, and I don't have a 1701 error. This drive might actually boot. There's clearly something, there's some noises coming out of the platters that are not good. So this drive is not long for this world. This is not a good drive to, this is a good parts drive is what this is. I don't even know if I have an OS installed on this drive though. I might not because nothing's booting. Oh, it's trying though. It's still reading and blinking the LED. So it's trying to communicate with the drive. It's thinking about it. Oh, now we're getting some clicking noises. That ain't good. Oh. All right. What direction did I say the fire extinguisher is? No, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, no, that's... All right, so that drive has got some platter issues inside, which means it's got some good parts outside. It might be worth trying to, heck, if this one doesn't start up, but the spinning of the platter sounds good, it might be worth trying to piece these two together into a working drive. That's a very big if, though. I don't remember what's wrong with this one. But this one's not giving me grinding sounds when I turn the little stepper thing here. And it's also moving pretty good. If anything, if I could transplant one of these onto the drive that's in there, because these I've not put any 3-in-1 oil on and they're still moving pretty freely. So, or if I come up with a better lubrication method for the one that's in there. Either way, I got some things to work with here, and it's going to be fun when 4 more of these come in from Texas. Again, put your place your bets in the comments. 4 of these that have been untested with these power connectors cut off are on their way here from Texas. How many do you think are going to turn on? How many do you think are going to spin up? How many do you think are going to be just completely dead, not even spin up? How many do you think are going to spin up with problems? Place your bets. All right, this drive is just not doing it. It's trying. It's not giving up and shut down, which is something. I guess it only does that if the initialization with the controller doesn't go well. If something goes wrong with that initialization with the controller, it just turns the motor off and it's good night until the next time you turn the computer off and back on. But past this point, it's just spinning and trying to do things. Huh. All right. Well, that's not going to load anything. So I don't even know what's on that disk, but that don't make good sounds. All right. So I need to find some labels is what I need to do. Let's see. All right, we'll use this blue tape. All right. right, so that tried to boot grinding sounds. Tried to boot grinding sounds. All right. Shit. I forget which drive I just put down. I think it was this one. Right, let's see here. Oh no, that's this one. This one's making the grinding sounds. All right. Put that blue tape right on there. Now let's see what this one does, shall we? All right, we connect our MFM cables. There we go. Oh, that's one, that's two, and we need a power connection. That's three. All right, let's we got a click, we got a glowing LED, we got no motor coming up. Okay, let's double check my wires, make sure that they're facing the right way. They are. They're firmly in there all the way. All right, that power connection is connected all the way. And that freely moves. Oh, there we go. I don't think the LED is supposed to glow like that while it's doing this, though. Oh, it tried to, and it stopped. Okay, I think this is the one I remember. This is the one that I had working for a period of time. Oh, I don't have a 1701 error. And it's still spinning. Oh, we got some clicking there. That's a different clicking than the different noises than we. One of these drives, I was able to spin up, and I tried to do a reformat. And every time I tried to reformat it, once it reached a certain point, it just shut down. I think that might be this drive. I honestly don't remember these drives making these noises. I don't know, maybe I do. Maybe I think I do. Maybe I think I don't. Either way, neither of these drives are loading. I don't even know if they have OSs on them because I may have tried to reformat them when I last was working with them. Of course, I need a working floppy drive in order to try to do anything. Now, I'm not sure why this floppy ain't working. It used to work. Maybe I need to reseat the cable because I did disconnect and reconnect the cable on that earlier. All right, well, that is not doing anything. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to move this off over to the side here. We're going to try to get our floppy drive working again. I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe I had this connected the wrong way. All right, let's get that on there. Come on. Let's get that on there. There we go. Let's get a power cable in there. And let's see if we can try to format these when we boot from a floppy. All right, let's see if we can get a floppy to boot on here. If not, I might have to go dig out another floppy drive. All right. Ooh. Yeah, that shut down. We could try again, but right now I'm going to let this roll just to see if I can get the floppy working. Come on, give me my 1701. There's my 1701. Oh, there we go. I must have had the cable hooked up the wrong way before. All right, so we're going to boot. There we go. All right, so we can boot and try to run F-disk if we could manage to get a boot to happen without the motor shutting down. So I'm going to spin that a little bit, and we're going to try that again. Nope. We got it to do it before, so it should be possible. All right, we're going to try this. I got a little lag on my screen here. Is Doom still in the chat room? Is this working or is this lagging? I don't know why it should be lagging. But it looks like it is. Let's see. Mars says not sure. Dune says yes. Oh, yes, he's still here. Okay. Let's try this a few more times. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to label this clicking difficult to boot. Nope. All right, I'm going to try 2 more times. Because, man, we got that first time. There we go. There we go. All right, so now we can get a floppy boot and we can try to format the drive or see if there's any, or at least we can try to see if we can access it. Doom pointing in its bit, it's better now. Huh, maybe Microsoft is running an update. All right, so we're booting the floppy with a hard drive spinning so we can at least view the contents of the drive if there are contents to view. All right, so let's do C, invalid drive specification. Okay, what's on this disk? Does this disk have F-disk on it? This disk does have F-disk on it. Okay, so we're going to F-disk. F that disk. Error reading fixed disk. All right. All right. Yeah. So I think that tells me all I need to know about that hard drive. DOS 3.30 predates the /mbr argument on the fdisk command. So no, I cannot. I could try to low-level format it. I'd have to look up the commands for that, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to work if fdisk won't even look at the contents of it. Although it could be that it's one of the drives that I tried to low-level format and it failed halfway through. So it could need a low-level format, but if it needs a low-level format, it's probably not going to take a low-level format if I'm remembering correct. At least one of these drives, I think, it was either halfway into a format or halfway into a low-level format that it failed. And yes, Mars, the drive was clicking. All right, so hard to boot, meaning hard to stay powered on while booting. No, you know what? That's inaccurate. How am I gonna? I want to make this a brief note that. All right. Often powers down on boot. F disk error. There we go. So that's what I know. I know that I can get it to stay on while booting, but it's hard. And I know that F disk won't read it. Okay. There we go. We're going to turn that off. We're going to put that on there. Now that we have a working floppy disk, we're going to take the first one back out again, and we're going to see if we can F that disk. All right, put that over here. And then we're going to decide which one of these I'm going to try to disassemble at a later date. And then we'll figure out what to do next. Okay. So, let's see, this cable goes here. This cable goes here. These cables are running a little tight. All right, there we go. And we need a power connector. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, so that one seems to be easier to boot to stay on while booting. Mars writes in, time to unscrew it and steal the magnets from it. It might be. That might be a thing that eventually happens, but not until after we salvage as much as we can without digging into the platter part. All right, we're booting the floppy. We're running F-disk. Error reading fixed disk. You know what? I'm not ready to end the stream yet. How do you low-level format? I think you have to run debug with some numbers. Okay, let's Google this. Low-level format debug DOS 3.30. No, that's not the right command I'm looking for. Let's see. Oh man, it's been a few years since I've done this, and I don't even remember where or how I learned to do this. All right, low-level format. MFM. Okay, so we're going to do debug. You'll get a dash prompt. Okay. G equals, I don't know which one of those commands I want. What type of controller do I got in there? All right, let's see if I can figure out what this is. I don't recall having to figure this out last time. All right, let's see. I think I might have to put in disk 2 for this. Yeah, that disk don't have it. So let's put in disk 2. I think that, yep, that's got debug on it. All right, so we're going to debug. And I think we want G equals C800:5. That resonates with my memory the most out of the options. C800:5. Okay, current drive is C, select new drive, return for current. Okay, current interleave is 3, select new interleave, return for current, return. Are you dynamically configuring the drive? This is the one that I want to give the answer that results in not asking me more questions about the drive. So I think that means dynamic. I think dynamic means it's going to get what it needs off of the controller's jumper settings. But if that's incorrect, we'll just have to back out and try again. Okay, key in. Okay, I must have been no, not dynamic. All right, so let's exit, quit. There we go. All right, let's try this again. G equals C800:5. Return. No, I am not. Press Y to begin formatting drive C with interleave 3. Okay. Insert DOS diskette in drive A. I guess that means disk 1. So let's take disk 2 out, put disk 1 in, and we will press return. And suddenly, nothing happened. Oh, okay, it's trying to do something. This is not how I remember this process going in the past. I thought it told me what it was doing and had like a progress bar. Well, oh. Huh. I think this is the reboot after it's done. But I don't think it should have finished that fast. So that says to me that the low-level format failed in some kind of spectacular way that it didn't tell me how it failed. Dune, you ready to run some Quattro Pro or some Word Perfect? Mars is writing in. Mars also writing in maybe a little bit of Lotus 123. This drive has Lotus 123 on it. You can try a format C, see what it does. I don't. If you can't F disk it, I don't think you can format it. Heck, there's invalid drive specification. It doesn't recognize that there's even a C drive 2 format. So yeah, our low-level format did not take on this drive. and it makes some sounds that a drive ought not to make. But we could try to low-level format that one. May as well. We got our wires all set up here to easily be able to do it. Although this is the one that's hard to get to boot. Yeah. We'll try this 2 more times. All right, that's one. Come on, big bucks, no whammies, and stop on a whammy. All right. So really what I've learned is that neither of these drives will do much of anything, and this one don't even want to stay on while booting up. So I think this one is the one that we will sacrifice to disassemble to learn as much as I can about it, and who knows, maybe I will be able to put it back together again, but no big loss if I don't. So that'll be a future stream when I've cleared off the workbench. We'll see what screws we can take out, what parts can come apart, how much we can disassemble this before we need to dig into the actual container of the platters. And heck, on this one, we may as well dig in there because it's making all kinds of grinding noises. Those platters are shot anyways. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together, and I'm going to see what's on this disk. Because if I have the file I need on this disk, we can see if we can get the clock card to work on this one, and then try to figure out why we can't get it to work on this one. All right, so I do need to disconnect this to move it out of the way, because I don't have much room to work with in here. And I need to remember to keep the red line pointing that way. All right, so now let's feel around what I got here. Oh, okay, that should be easy. Okay, so we got this wire here. Okay, get that out of the way. Okay, that's going to connect over here. And then this wire is going to come in and connect over there. Come on. Almost. Come on. So you're home. It's where you want to go. Okay. And then we need to connect the power cable. Duck that down there. Now we need to get our floppy cable reconnected. That goes right onto there. Tuck those wires in out of the way. And let's see if our screwed in hard drive, after disconnecting and reconnecting wires, let's see if it's still working. Now that we've determined the problems with those two drives and labeled them, so that I can tear them apart and make them even more broken. All right, looking good. We don't have a 1701 error, and we still have a hard drive noise spinning. Is diskpart a thing in DOS 3.3? No, it's fdisk partitions, formats. Okay. So there we go. So again, if we do date and we set it to 5/30/2026, and if we do rtc drv.exe space s, We're still getting wrong RTC date. Now let's see what's on that disk. I think that's the disk I used to copy this program. So we're going to go to our A drive. And we're going to do a dir ray xtfm mfm. Huh. Okay. I think I was doing something with hard drives. So I don't know. But you know what? Let's see if we can copy that. All right, we're going to copy RTC drv.exe to A colon. One file copied. All right. And we're going to put that in there. And we're going to put this in there. And we're going to park our hard drive. We're going to turn this off. We're going to move our monitor cable down here. Our keyboard cable down here. And our power cable down here. And we're going to boot this to DOS 3.3. And that one runs a lot quieter and starts its memory test a lot quicker because we got no hard drive controller in there. It's all floppy. And right now it is 2149. Okay, so we're going to do 530, no, not 20, 30, 2026. And we're going to do 2149. There we go. I don't know why I just typed in a directory command. Reflex. All right, let's see if our B drive's working. Okay, so first things first, you know what? I set the date and time, but if this is one of the three computers I replaced the battery on, and if I did set up the clock card on this one with the compact flash card I previously had working on here, the clock card should still have the correct date and time on it. So I'm going to set the wrong date again, is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do January 1st, 1980, and I'm going to set the time to 0000. All right. And now I'm going to, again, run rtc drv.exe space r space 2026, because this is a modified version of the clock card app that ignores the year, because the actual clock card is not Y2K compliant and will not get the year right. You have to hard code that in, which means I have to update my AutoExec batch file once a year with the actual year. So if we run this command, if the clock card is working, has the right date and time set in it, and if this command works, and if the battery has been held out over the past year and a half or so, it might set the date right. Huh. Date 35-67-1988. Oh, was I missing that line on the other computer? I might have to check my picture. I was just reading the error. So that's the problem. Let me look at the picture I took earlier. No, that was not. It was only telling me. All right, so that tried to read a date, and the date that it's reading is 35 for the month, 67 for the day, 1988 for the year. Now, I expect the year to be wrong. But yeah, so it's just, and then time says wrong RTC time, 4:9B, which was the same thing I was getting there. All right, so let's set the date right manually. 5:30:2026. Let's set the time. Again, it's, let's see, 21:52. And now let's try to write that to the time card. RTC DRV space S. Huh. I thought S was supposed to set it, but it's just, it's not, Maybe there's some more year problems that came up over the past 2 years. All right, let's try setting the date to 5:30/1980. And now let's try RTC DRV space S. Huh. No, I can't get it to wrong expression. Huh. Well, unfortunately, this is a modified command written by someone that speaks Korean. So I don't know if I can communicate with them to try to figure out why it's not working for me now. But I did once get this command to work, and right now it's not working in the same way on 2 machines, which suggests I'm doing something wrong. But it's also not working on a machine that it previously worked on using the same syntax that was previously working. Maybe my file got corrupted on the hard drive. Maybe I need to download a new copy of this to my floppy, which means I'm going to need to spin up another machine that I can go from USB to 5 1/4. What that machine down there should do. I don't even know if the 5 1/4 is hooked up inside of there right now. Yeah, well, maybe tomorrow. All right, so as you can see, the laundry list of things to do never ends when you want to try to keep an 80s PC working as good as it was working in the 80s. But this one's not so bad. I'm not sure why I can't get the clock card to work. It was working in 2024. It's not working now, but maybe with a little more tinkering, I can get that working again. But if anything, we can shut this down, put our floppy disks away. So let's take a moment to, you know what? Let's actually look at what's on this computer. Because, you know, we've been doing a lot of cleanup work here. Playing with old hard drives, figuring out how they're broken, figuring out what turns on, what doesn't. But let's actually see what works now that we've determined what doesn't work. Okay, come on. Please don't make me lean over and have to look back there. I should be able to feel where the connector is. Oh, I'm on the wrong slot. Come on. Okay, there we go. And power. So, as we've determined, a little bit of 3-in-1 oil. We got this hard drive working good as new, or as close as you can get one of these 20 meg tandem hard drives to be, as close to do as you can these days. This CGA monitor, although it's my least favorite one, it's the most stable and is holding up, knock on wood. That's real wood there, because my 3-cis-9 monitors are all need some work. We'll try changing out the electrolytic capacitors on one of those and see what that does. But in the meantime, at least I have a working monitor, even if it's not the right kind that I want to be working. But hey, listen to that hard drive purr. Brings you right back, sitting in my parents' rooms in the 80s to play me a little Donkey Kong, or Lode Runner, or Wheel of Fortune, or Friendlyware. So everybody's writing, did the battery die? Well, if the battery died, our issue would be, oh shit, that's not good. Huh. Never seen it do that before. Maybe I loosened a cable. I mean, I didn't get a 1701 error, though. All right, let's... Apparently, I didn't knock on wood hard enough. Oh, well, that connector's a little loose. That's the problem with these MFM connectors. They're not like the IDE connectors that really wedge in there and hold firmly. These just slide over, and the minimal amount of pressure, and they slide back. So I think my data cable was a little askew. And I think now it's on there firmly. So what was I saying? Yeah, sounds just like it should. You just don't get that. I mean, as fun as this one is, when I have a compact flash card working on it with plenty of space and no problems booting up because it's got modern storage, and having an EGA card, so I have better graphics than the originally had. It's just fun to have one that sounds right. Okay, that is bad. That is... What the fuck is going on now? That was not doing that before. All right, we're going to give this one more try. And then we're going to have to boot the floppy and start poking around. Of course, when it's like, well, now that we know what's working, let's look at what's working. What's working stops working. All right, let's get our DOS disk ready to go here, in case we need to. Whoa, whoa, that was colorful. Did you all catch that? That might not be a drive issue. Which actually, I'd rather it was not a drive issue, because the drive's the hardest part to keep working on these things. I've got spare everything else. Oh yeah, we're getting some colorful things happening here. Okay, all right. Yeah, that is not right at all. Okay. Huh. Oh my God. The video card slid a little out of the ISA slot because I was just able to slide it back in all the way. I guess when I pushed the monitor on, when I was having trouble fiddling around, I actually put enough pressure because these long cards, some of these computers came with little stands, little parts that screw into the other side that hold the front side of the card here in place as well. But this tower does not have those parts. It's got the rail here with screw holes. So, which is fine if you're not opening it up and poking it around in there and putting pressure on things. Anyways, now that the display card is firmly into its slot, it should boot up without issue now. Marjorie, you didn't screw it down. Well, screw down on one side. It's not. It doesn't have a screw holder on the optional. I don't even know what you'd call that. I'm just tripping over myself. But I'm not seeing flashy. So, oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So the display card just got a little slid out. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 7.6 megs free on this 20 meg drive. So I've got room to put some more things on here. That's more than half. But we got on here, what's FS? I'm not sure what FS is. Oh, FS is a file system. Okay. We got speed 600. I think it's a speed test. We got Wheel of Fortune 2nd Edition. We got Lode Runner. We got Jaybird. We got Donkey Kong. We got Leisure Suit Larry 1. We got GW Basic. We got Classic Concentration. We got Jeopardy. We got Striker. Oh, Striker was a fun game. Let's see. Let's see if you can all see the computer screen. I don't have a good way of screen capturing CGA. Let's see what Mars is writing in. How many of those hard drives would I need to save one FLAC? It depends how long the FLAC is and what quality it is. And then he wants to know if I have Bouncing Baby. I do have that on my compact flash card, which I don't have a working XTIDE card with it at the moment. But I do not have that on this hard drive or on a floppy disk that I could easily put on here. But yeah, I do have that. That is a classic, isn't it? All right, but let's play. My grandfather brought us a floppy disk of games that had a few games on it. This was one of them, called Striker by Derek Williams. Got that ugly purple, cyan, white graphics. We're going to do, oh man, I don't even know where my joystick is. So we're going to have to do keyboard play. Press space bar for keyboard play. Okay. Let's see if I can remember. Oh, I need to figure out. Okay. Enters guns. What does the bombs though? I need to drop bombs. Huh. Shit. All right, we're gonna have to get a game over so I can look up the keyboard controls. So let's crash our helicopter into a mountain. let's crash our helicopter into a mountain again. Level, we got to pick up our spies, but we're going to crash. Okay. O for other options. Just keyboard. Okay. Press up key, down key, left key, right key. I don't know what the default for the bomb key is, but I'm going to do space bar. And enter is the fire key. And we'll make P the pause key. There we go. Let's try this now. Now, our first menu, all we got to do is drop bombs because we don't have anything in our way. Level 1 is pretty much just bomb and fly forward and get to the end of the level and pick up your spies. And you also got to watch your fuel. Anytime you bomb a fuel globe, it adds more fuel to your meter because that's how helicopters get refueled, by blowing up fuel tanks, right? All right, then we get over here and we got to land on the landing pad. With a joystick, it's hard to do because the joystick doesn't always stay centered very well. A lot of games that you could play on a joystick are just easier to play. Now, this is where we got to use our gun because we get bats that get in our way. Like there's one. Oh, and they shoot at you too. Usually staying in this position gets most things, but every now and then you get a bat that just gets himself right in your path at the right moment that the gun. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, whoa, whoa, fuck. Almost. And anytime you have to start over at the beginning of the level. So like I was almost at the end of the level. Now I'm back at the beginning. That's an annoyance. All right. Oh. Let's see. This is usually I'm better at the second level, but those bats are annoying. What the heck even got me? All right, enough of this. I don't think this game has a quit. Sometimes you just have to do the 3-finger salute to get out. So let's see. Oh, Sir Mars was suggesting B for bomb. And wrote in, that was a great game. Maybe about Bouncing Baby, you meant. Joystick drift, even in the 80s. Yeah, we had those adjustments that you could try to dial in, but even so, it was hard to get a good stationary center. Let's see what else we have in here. I think we also have Lotus 123, if you want to bang out some spreadsheets. Let's see. You got Mean 18 on here. For those that want to play some golf, it's just like being out in the golf course from the comfort of your own home, right? Am I right? Look at that bright blue sky. And there we go. All right, insert quartz disc. Now, I never quite figured out how this is supposed to work. I remember my dad had a bunch of 5 1/4-inch discs with different courses on them. But in order to read them, you had to actually load the app from a floppy because it's going to read from the same place that the app loaded from. So even if I put a course disk into the floppy drive here and press enter, it's just going to read the courses that are in the folder, the Mean 18 folder on the C drive that we loaded from. It's hard coded to check where the app loaded from. And it'll only load 3 courses because generally a course disk would only hold 3 courses. So even if I put 10 courses in the folder, it's going to read the top 3. So I don't know if there was an intended way or I mean, I guess you just have to keep an extra folder and copy things back and forth and put the 3 courses you want in your C drive if you want to run it from your C drive. But the 3 courses that we have are Augusta, Pebble, and St. Andrew. So let's do Augusta. Do a new game, 1 player. Instead of putting initials, I just always write in John. And we're going to do regular and beginner because I'm not good at golf. Playing Hot Shot. No, this isn't Hot Shots golf. This is Mean 18. I think this is like the original PC golf game. That kind of. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to begin a game. Off to the first tee. And it's going to show us an overhead shot of the hole. And, you know, it's pretty straightforward. We go out here. We got a water hazard if we overshoot the hole. And here we go. And so you want to hit the space bar till it goes up, hit the space bar to come back down. I mean, you could let it go all the way up in the red and then it'll automatically come back down. But I think it's bad to let it go all the way up in the red. And then you want to hit the space bar again, as close to that line as possible, or you're going to go to the left or to the right. I hit the space bar a little too soon. Veering left. And I'm in the rough. All right. Let's see what we can do here. All right. We're heading right for the sand trap. Bunker. I'm not doing too good, am I? All right. We're going to use an 8-iron on this one, I guess. And we're going right for the next sand trap. Open face club sand wedge. All right, we're on the green. All right, let's see if we can putt this. All right, we want to use our arrows to angle the line up. I don't think that monitor's coming through at all on this display. Okay, and we got about halfway there. The putting is hard because, you always overshoot it or undershoot it. It's hard to get a good judgment of what the distance really is. That, oh, so close. All right. Tap that right in there. All right, that was 7 on a par 5. That's not good. We're going to quit this. Quit while we're behind. So Mars writing in, I liked Hot Shots Golf 2. I unlocked and played Gex the Gecko. I'll have to check that out. And impressive, better than I could do. I don't know about that. All right. What else we got here? We got Monopoly on here. Do I have Advanced Boardwalk on here? I actually found they made a PC version of the Advanced Boardwalk game. Don't know if I have it loaded on here though. Oh, it is on here. Yeah, but that's boring. You know what? You know what's kind of fun? This is something my dad brought home one day. I don't know where all those original... All right, this directory has way too many files in it. All our original discs are gone. I think my parents tossed them when they moved, which is a shame. I would have loved to have had those to add to my clutter. Oh, I want to run the bat file. There we go. Well, this is the Ford simulator. I think someone's selling an original one of this with the original instructions for like $80 on eBay. I'm tempted, but no. So we can do the Ford simulator. This one doesn't have a whole lot. But we could do the Ford simulator. Actually, yeah, no, it does have a few things because we have touring, drag strip, slalom, and Grand Prix. Touring is basically just this drive around track. Drag strip is this really short track that you just want to get the best time. And the slalom, they got cones set up. And the Grand Prix is this long race track. But then after each of these events, there's a few info center things that tell you about their cars. And the cool thing about this one that the second one didn't do, this one actually lets you select what car you drive, whereas I think they all pretty much drive the same. But then in the second version, it's just the same car. It doesn't let you pick a car to drive. But we'll go ahead and select touring. And here we go. We can drive a big old van, a Bronco, a Lincoln Continental, a Mercury Cooper, a Mustang GT. We can drive a Festiva or an Escort, 4-speed manual. Okay. Here we go. Taurus, 3-speed automatic. Scorpio's 3-speed automatic. I usually always made sure to pick an automatic. Mustang LX is an automatic. Mustang GT is a 5-speed manual. Turbo Coupe. But with the game, you have to like select your gears through the 1 through 5 keys, and it's just an extra thing to do. So let's drive a Taurus, because I pretty much do. Press I, ignition, to start car. Listen to that car purr. Press S to fasten safety belt, because safety. All right, and now we accelerate by tapping the space bar, just like in a real car. And it drives just like a real Taurus. All right, we got this thing up to 88, 90. And it steers just like a real Taurus. Sometimes it drives a little drunk, but drunk's a little dry. Whoa! Oh, God. Okay, we went off the road a little bit there. All right, let's go to the info center. That's enough drunk driving for one day. Doing it again. Okay, that's annoying. Mars wants to know if you can play the Ford Pinto. No, they do not, and not the Chevy Sim. I do not. The Chevy Sim, I don't think had as much information, as much to it. I don't think that one didn't have a driving segment, if I recall the YouTube video I saw about that. Mars writes, and Gators needs a turbo button on his space bar. See, this is how Gators' one arm was bigger than the other. Muscles from using the space bar so much. Yeah, that's how I got good at typing with one hand, because one hand was on the space bar and the other hand was steering. Though it's still two hands, isn't it? So this is about the all-wheel drive, and you can press and hold F to demonstrate how front-wheel drive works. As you can see, arrows are on the front wheels, indicating that it is the front wheels that are driving. And then if we hold the R, we see that goes to the rear wheels, and the arrows on the rear wheels, indicating those are the ones that are rotating. But if we press A, then we have arrows on all the wheels. Or we could hold down F and R at the same time. And then there's front rear drive. All right, that's enough of that. And then this one shows us about airflow management. We hold the space bar, and it shows us how the air flows over and under the car. Well, he sold me. Let's go buy a Ford. See those lines? We should buy a Ford. All right, that's all right, we'll do the drag strip. But we're not really going to play the drag strip. We're just going to start it because each one of these events has a different info center thing. So we're going to hit F8. Let's see what we got here. Ford EFI. Oh, fuel injection. Ford gas engines equipped with EFI provide precise fuel metering for gas economy, smooth running, easy starting, and temperature extremes. Press and hold the space bar to see fuel flow. And there we go. We can see the computer's doing the thing and fuel is flowing. Let's see what else we can learn from this. Turbocharging. Ford models use blow-through turbocharging to extract V8-like power from a four-cylinder engine, provide on-demand power for passing situations. And over here we have this curve that shows RPM versus horsepower. And if we hold the space bar, we can see all that power increase we get because it's turbocharged. Mars writing in, didn't they have that at Epcot? Yes, they do. Fuel injection, not a carb. There we go. That was a fun game back in the day. A lot of space. Was it? Oh, is that what Dune was saying? That's annoying. Me just furiously tapping the space bar. Yeah, that could get annoying. You knew someone was playing that game when you heard a bunch of tap, 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 tap coming down the stairs from upstairs. All right. And then a year later, they came out with a new version with fancy graphics. Ford Simulator 2. All right, F10 from the main menu. We got this top menu thing going over here. We've got the driving simulator, the electronic showroom, the buyer's guide, the info center, the customer feedback, and exit to DOS. Let's see the electric showroom. Take a look at the a collection of 1990s most exciting new vehicles and glorious CGA graphics. I wonder if there was any GA graphics for this. All right, let's to view specific maker model, select from the choose vehicle menu. All right, that's F2. So we can look at the Aerostar Eddie Bauer, the Bronco 2 Eddie Bauer, the Ford Crown Victoria. Let's see. Oh, there. Let's look at the Mustang GT convertible. There it is. And a nighttime scene out by a lake where you could do some parking. All right, let's take a look at the Taurus LX wagon. Well, yeah, look at that. Now, that's a Taurus wagon right there, isn't it? Right there on the, also by a lake with some mountains in the background. And oh, let's look at the Mercury Sable GS. There we go. Got a Golden Gate Bridge, it looks like, in the background. Although that city skyline doesn't look. Nice nighttime scene there. And yeah. Lincoln Cartier Town Car. There we go. What a luxury car should be. There we go. Now there's a van. All right, let's see what else we can do. We can go to the info center. So let's check out the JBL audio system. And this is great. They give an audio demonstration of how well the audio system works using the PC speaker. Oh, isn't that great? So here we go. Look at that radio. Oh, it even got the cassette deck there. Oh, even have CD as an option. 145 watts bi-amp power. 9 JBL premium speakers, compact disc player, auto manual search and random play. To see how Ford's new JBL audio system can fill your car with brilliant stereo sound, press the space bar. Most car stereos come with 2 speakers. That's how the 2 speakers sound. Some even have 4 speakers. But now, take a listen to what a JBL system sounds like with 9 speakers. Well, man, if only I could have a car stereo that sounds that good. Kind of like track and field for Nintendo, remember? A, B, A, B, A, B. Mars also writing in, ooh, dang, the Crown Vic. Dune knows how much power those had. And Mars writes in, wow, quad with JBL. Yeah. 9 speakers. They got like 2 in the front on each side. So 4 in the front, 4 in the back. And a booming subwoofer in the trunk there or further back there. So there you go. You have to hear it to believe it. Yeah, because I'm not believing it from those PC speaker beeps. And we can also take a look at the supercharged intercooled V6 engine. Anyways. So where does that leave us? Well, this computer is working as good as I would hope it should work. I was a little worried about that hard drive earlier today, but that hard drive is really stabilized. So I need to deal with monitors. I need to deal with long-term hard drive solutions and coming up with methods to keep these hard drives working, because I intend to keep an authentic BC88 with vintage hard drive working for decades to come. And I need to figure out how to get the date and time card to work again. So those are future projects we have to look forward to. At some point in the coming weeks, I'm going to take apart one of those monitors and try to replace the capacitors, see if that gets some life back into them. Also in the upcoming weeks, at some point, I'm going to do a live stream of disassembling one of those hard drives. And the main reason I want to do that is so that I have the video to refer back to if I need to figure out how I took it apart to figure out how to put it back together again correctly. So keep an eye out for those streams. And I don't know if we're doing a stream tomorrow, but if Dune's still in the chat, maybe Dune could weigh in if he thinks we're doing a show tomorrow or not. Either that or I'll have to, send a little word text tomorrow and figure out what time I'm eating wings. And yeah. So I don't know, Dune, you still in the chat room there? You still out there, or did I put you to sleep with all this Ford stuff? All right. Well, I'm going to three-finger salute that because I can't seem to get out of that. And I'm going to shut that down for the night. And don't see a comment from Dune, so I don't know if we're going live tomorrow or not. But stay tuned because we might or we might not. And also, hopefully we go live on Monday too, if Mars and or Brian are around. So thank you all for tuning in, and you all have a good night.